Hello class. In this video, we're going to walk through your first programming assignment. So we're going to spend time looking at the technical aspects of completing the assignment and getting it turned in, more so than looking at the Java code that we're working with. And of course, I want you to view the Revel videos and look at your information in your ebook to get all the details on the syntax for the Java code. There's a little bit of differences from the languages that you may have been using in your Introduction to Programming class, but not a lot. So we'll kind of, as I said, focus on the technical aspects. So I'm here at our Canvas course, to student view, and I'm going to go into modules and find that first programming assignment. Here it is. We've got the 3 messages program. Now, in our assignment, it says that we're going to complete exercise 1.1 from your textbook. Now, the textbook information is not copied into Canvas, because I want you to be really familiar with your textbook and feel comfortable with it. And so I want you to refer to it. Now, I'm going to continue looking at this information before I go find that Revel information. It is going to be, again, exercise 1.1 from our book. Then after that is complete, we're going to use this Hypergrade link to submit our assignment. And then we're going to complete the program submission template to give the instructor information about our program and use that to submit our assignment to Canvas. And then I can use that document to give you notes back about your code and things like that. So it kind of works really good for us as a communication vehicle when you turn in your assignment. Now, it is a little bit of overhead for you, just kind of like an actual programmer position out in the field. There are lots of steps that programmers have to take to do things properly. And so we want to kind of emulate that here in class. Now, I want to, like I said, find our Pearson Revel information. And I've got to leave student view. Sorry about that. And then it knows who I am, and I can go into our course. I'm going to switch to student view here. Now, I could look at this assignment because I know that it's chapter 1, and I could look at this information here again also because I know that I could find somewhere buried in here the exercise 1.1. But the easiest way really to locate specific information is to go into the table of contents of your ebook. And then we want chapter 1. And we're always going to be looking at the programming exercises from the book. Here's our assignment. It says we want to display 3 messages. Welcome to Java, welcome to computer science, and programming is fun. Okay, so that's what our assignment is. Great. I'm going to leave that open, and I'm going to return back to our assignment view. If I can get there, I might have to. There it is. Now, I also want to go ahead and check the Hypergrade link and see if there's any sort of extra information given in Hypergrade. In Hypergrade, it says that our program should display these messages. We can view the required output here in Hypergrade. Now, I was able to click on that link and go directly to the assignment, and that's where I can turn it in. If you are stopped at the login screen, just use the login that you set up your Hypergrade account with. Remember, in our setup information in Canvas is the real quick and easy information about setting up your Hypergrade account. It's pretty simple to do, so you can refer back to that and get that all taken care of. So I've checked both places. I think I'm pretty up now on what the exercise requirements are. So I'm going to open NetBeans because I use NetBeans for my Java development. Let's press for right now. It's always neat when you're working with Java to try other tools. NetBeans is actually kind of basic compared to a lot of the tools, so it gives us a pretty clean interface to use when we're sharing information here as a class. Being a little slow to load. See if I need to, no, come on. Unusually slow NetBeans. I don't know that it's usually this slow. See if my computer is upset with us. Sometimes the OBS software that I used to record can make some of the different applications angry, but I really don't have very much open. There it is, finally. Goodness, I have a pretty good computer, so it is extremely slow. Now I'm going to delete this old version, and then we'll look at the NetBeans interface. Now, whenever we're working with NetBeans, I'm going to make sure all of the projects are closed. All right, we have several different areas of our window, and we'll talk about those here in a second. As we get started, I want to create our new project for exercise 1.1. Now, when I create a new project, I want to use the File menu and choose New Project. And then I'm going to make sure that Java is chosen in this language section. Now, if you don't have Java available, you're going to have to add the plugin. And so let me know if that's an issue for you, and I'll find a link for you to a video. Normally it's not. NetBeans should have all of that installed for you automatically. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. Now on this window, I'm giving all of the information for my project. So I want to give my project a good name, and this name is going to be used for my project folder. So I'll be able to find this project in my file system based on this name. So I'm going to name it exercise1_1. And that'll be a pretty meaningful name for me, I think. You could give other information if you wanted to. Now the next field is the location where you would like the system to store this project. So I will have an exercise1_1 folder created under my NetBeans projects folder. So we'll go look at that in our file system structure here in a minute. So it displays right here what that project folder will be. Now the last thing we need to look at is down at the bottom, and it asks us if we want to create a main class. For right now, I'm going to uncheck that and say, no, we don't want to. And let's finish. When NetBeans creates our project for us, we'll see it over here in the left in this project folder. In our project folder, we have our project name followed by all of the actual folders that are within that project folder that NetBeans created for us. We have a source code folder. Right now, we just have this default information in it because remember we unchecked that box to create our main class. Now, under the libraries, we have a link to our Java Development Kit. So I'm ready to create this program, but I need a .java file to write my code in. That's the rule. My Java code needs to be contained within a text file named something.java. So I'm going to create that here under my default package. So I'm going to right click on my default package and say I want to create a new Java class. And the Java class is the structure that's going to be used to hold our source code. Now this class, I'm going to name it exercise 1, 1_1, the same as our project. If you notice, NetBeans is giving me a warning that we not use the default package. Well, for us with Hypergrade, we have to use the default package. Hypergrade is not able to interpret the package statement. So always use the default package or you're going to get all sorts of errors with Hypergrade. I'll try to show that too. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish. And NetBeans creates the .java file for me. So it's under the default package, under our source library in our project folder. Now, as we look at our source code file here, we see that we have a public class statement with our class name, opening curly bracket, and then a closing curly bracket. And we'll be looking at this code, but for right now, we want to put our source code in between that opening and closing curly bracket. The first thing that we're going to create is our main method. And when we're working with Java, Java looks for this main method as a point to begin your program execution. So we have kind of a standard that we have to use in creating our main method. Let's see if I can do it under pressure. Public static void, and then the word main. Then I'm going to opening parenthesis, and I'm going to have the word string with an uppercase S, and an opening and closing square bracket, and args. And of course, we'll be looking at what all of these different things mean. For now, just know that is exactly what you have to type. Well, let's make sure I don't have errors, right? Voila, yay. So exactly what you need to type to declare your main method for your Java program. So when you run your Java program, the system is going to locate that main method and begin execution at that point. Now, when we want to output information to the console in our Java program, we're going to use a system class, and we're going to use the out class of the system class, and then we want to send this output as a print ln or print line. Now, this statement is going to be pretty well set, and I need to put the information that I want to output within the parentheses. So if you notice, NetBeans was giving me all sorts of suggestions and all sorts of help. You can ignore that information if you like, or you can begin to use it. And in the videos, I'll kind of mention how we can utilize some of those shortcuts in NetBeans. For this program, we want to kind of type everything out. Now, NetBeans did close that parenthesis for me and put in that semicolon. In the Java programming language, every line of code either has like an opening curly bracket at the end, if it's a line of code that has a block type mentality, or it has a semicolon. So most code is just going to be a semicolon. Now, with all of my tucking and gabbing, I forget what we need. Welcome to Java. Now, this \n, if you notice, is an indication to the system to move to a new line. And that's why Welcome to Computer Science ends up on a new line, and programming is fun. In Java, we could put that new line in our output string and have that new line happen, or we can use the print line function, and that'll take care of doing that for us. Okay, so we're going to use this print line function and we'll experiment. So welcome to Java, and I want that to be within my double quotes. Now my next line of code I want to insert, and it's going to be after the semicolon. So you can see I clicked there and then pressed enter, and I want another system.out.println statement. And this time we're going to say programming is fun. Is that right? Yeah, something like that. I'll make it an uppercase F so it doesn't match in Hypergrade. And then I'm going to insert one more line. And this one, welcome to computer science. Okay, so I have a little bit of error kind of built in for us, but let's try and run this program before we worry about submitting it to Hypergrade. So in NetBeans, up at the top in our toolbar area, we can use this green arrow to run our current project. Now there are lots of other options available in the toolbar. Be sure to explore those, new file, new project, open, save, undo, redo, all of those kinds of things. But I want to run this project. Here I thought I did so good with my main. What did I do wrong? Why is it mad at me? Well, let's go check on Google. Java main declaration. Look at that, it just popped up for me. Because remember, we can use Google to help us with these things. Public static void main string args. That's right. So let me see if I can make it work. Because NetBeans is not seeing my main method, and I checked on Google and it looks like it's okay, I can actually right click on this .java file and tell NetBeans to run it. And when I run it, I see that I've got my messages. Welcome to Java. Programming is fun. Welcome to computer science. So this area of the screen down here, the output area, will show the output from our console-based program run. So all that looks pretty good. Now I'd like to submit this into Hypergrade, but I know that the instructor will knock off points if I don't have comments. So I'm going to fix that problem. Come up here to the top and delete these extraneous comments that NetBeans put in because they are not applicable to us. And I'm going to start here in this block comment that was already inserted by NetBeans, and I'm going to add to it. I'm just going to put a little bit of information. Notice that when I press enter, NetBeans goes ahead and inserts another asterisk to continue the block comment, so I don't have to really worry about that too much. Now, beside the name of the application here, I'm going to put my date, and I want to make sure that my @author statement is correct. So I'm using my computer, so NetBeans knows what my name is. Please make sure that this name is accurate and is your name. I like to see your name as clarification in Hypergrade. I know that it's you, and I know that I'm looking at your program. And also, if I see somebody else's name here, like you're using somebody else's computer, which is fine, you might have your brother's computer, your sister's computer, something like that. But still yet, when I see somebody else's name there, it always makes my mind wonder if you actually wrote the program. And I know, of course, you did. So let's just make sure your name is there, and then we'll have good documentation in this code for us to refer to. All right, so I want to save. Now that I've gotten everything saved, I'm going to go find this project in my file system. Lots of ways I can do that. Close these here. I can use File Explorer, and I could go to my Documents folder. And find my NetBeans projects folder. And mine is kind of full, I apologize. And here is our exercise 1.1 exercise that we're working on. And now things should match pretty closely with what we're seeing in NetBeans. In my exercise 1_1 folder, I have this build project. This is how the project's going to run. It's compiled code. And then the NetBeans project information, and finally my source code folder. Now this is our source code folder. When I open it, I see my .java file. Now I could open that file in Notepad or any sort of editor that I wanted to and change that code if I wanted to change the program. So start feeling comfortable with where all that stuff is and what your file structure is when you create a project. So I think I'm ready then to submit this to Hypergrade. My Hypergrade tab is still open. I'm going to click Turn In. Now, mine is already complete. My failed video attempt, but I can submit it again. I'm going to delete my previous attempt. And this is pretty much our Hypergrade interface here. Now, when I'm using Hypergrade, it's going to show me the required output and my output. Now, we know that I made that program not produce the right output, so we're going to try running my new file. I'm just going to drag it and test it. It went from green to pink, which is really red. Now, Hypergrade is telling me I have some problems. Wherever it finds a mismatch in the expected output compared to your output, it's going to turn things red. So the first place it couldn't match things up was this word here, programming is fun. And if I look at it, I have to kind of think about it. Oh, I have those lines switched. Okay, so I'm going to move that. I'll cut that and paste it. And that should be more like what we need, the right order. And I save so that my .java file is updated in my file system. And I'm going to drag it into Hypergrade again. Sorry, too many different products. All right, let's test that. Oh, much better. Perfect, right? Not quite. I still have red. Do you see it? The F. We wanted a lowercase f, and I have an uppercase F. So I need to fix that so that I meet the requirements. And I'll save. Go back to my file system and drag that in again. Test it one more time. And voila, everything turns green. It's all happy. And we're done with our Hypergrade submission for this assignment. So great. I'll close that. Now we still need to submit this assignment to Canvas. For the Canvas assignment submission, we need to use this document. So I'm going to download it. And I'll open this Word document. Now, it's nothing super fancy or glamorous or anything, but it does give us a way, as I said, to communicate on Canvas in a good way. So do update your name here. Oop, just clicking. And as a software developer, it's quite common to have to fill out forms and things when you're updating your programs, as I mentioned. So this should be something that becomes normal to you. Now, these 3 lines, we want to know a little bit about how your thought process went for working out the troubleshooting steps of this program. And the first thing the analysis says, describe the problem, including input and output in your own words. So for this program, we wanted to output 3 messages, and we could be a little bit more specific about that, but I don't want to waste a lot of time in our video. I want you to be very thorough, though, as you're filling this out. Now, for the design, it would say all output is performed by the main. But we didn't really need to do any other fancy structure to our program. In testing, we validated expected output. And of course, if we had a more involved program, we would have more involved testing. Right? Now we need a screenshot. The screenshot should be of the output from your Java program. So I'm going to get things in the right order on my window. First, I want NetBeans, and I'm going to put the Word document right in front of that. NetBeans right now is showing my output. So in Word, I can use my Insert menu and Screenshot. And I want to do a screen clipping. I want the output from my program. And we'll just pop that information right into that Word document for us. Now for this section, for your code, please don't do a screen print like that, because that will show up as an image in Canvas and I won't be able to put comments on that. Instead, in NetBeans, select all your code and copy it for me and paste it into this Word document. And then we'll be able to see all of your code. We need to fix that, huh? My color is kind of bad as you copy things in to make my font color black. That looks a little better. So different editors are going to copy the code in differently. Don't worry too much about it as long as I can see your code. I mean, I think it's IntelliJ. If you copy and paste, it's going to be all color-coded and beautiful. So whatever environment you're using, your code might copy a little bit different, but I should be able to tell what's going on. Now, if I didn't see proper indentation, that will be a concern. So if that's a problem from copying, go ahead and tab over a little bit on that. All right, that's all I need to do for this program submission document. So I'm going to save this. And I want to save it in my CIS170 folder that I've made. And I'm going to call this exercise 1_1. And then that way I'll be able to find my program submission documents were there to be some sort of problem. And I needed to get back to it again. I can close Word. I'm done with that. I'm going to go to Canvas. And I'm ready to submit this assignment. Now you'll click on the Submit button and you'll submit a file and you'll upload your exercise 1_1 program submission template document. And then I'll be able to see that in Canvas. I'll try to grade them pretty quick because we have that assignment next week where I will ask you to locate the instructor feedback for for the program submission document, hopefully, if everything goes according to plan. So looks great. Keep up the good work. Thanks to those of you who let me know that we had trouble with the videos, because you know how sometimes hardware can just fail you and you don't even know it. So I think we should be good, and I look forward again to working with you. So good luck with this one. Let me know if you run into any problems. Thanks.